Hello and welcome to the Office of the Patriot, where we try to make sense out of the nonsense of the progressive left and Rhino right. My name is Myron Ybarra, and I'm your host.
And I'm your co-host, Angry Mike, but I'm happy tonight.
I don't know about the rest of you, but damn, for the first time in quite some time, it feels good to be an American. What about you, Mike?
It feels like hope has returned, and but don't worry, people. I'm still angry, and it'll quickly dissipate after I remember the adults are back in charge.
Agreed. So in this episode of Office of the Patriot, we're going to review all the good things that have happened as a result of Donald Trump taking the reins as the 47th president of the United States. And we might talk also about the unscrupulous outgoing administration, specifically their send-off. I don't think they planned their exit as well as they like to think they did. Let's get into the first, dare I say, faux pas that happened during the swearing-in ceremony that the Democrats are absolutely freaking out about.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
So as you saw in the video, and as I'm sure you've heard for at least the past 4 days, Trump did not have his hand on the Bible when he recited the oath of office. Now, there's a couple of reasons this happened that are floating around the internet and some of the legacy media, and all of them are plausible. The first, and obviously the one that is easily provable, is that Justice Roberts started reciting the oath of office before any of the family members, to include Melania, who was holding two Bibles, one on top of the other. If you didn't know why she was holding two Bibles, one was a Bible that was given to Donald Trump by his mother back in 1955, and the other Bible was the one that was used during the swearing-in ceremony for President Abraham Lincoln. None of Trump's family members were in their positions prior to Justice Roberts starting the swearing-in ceremony. This would have prevented Trump from, basically putting his hand on the Bible at the start of the oath of office. Now, there is an argument where he could have put his hand on the Bibles when Melania did take position beside him. I don't know that I would have done it in the middle of the ceremony, but let's face it, it could have been done. Now, as I said earlier, the leftists are absolutely freaking out because they believe, erroneously, that because he didn't put his hand on the Bible, that he really isn't the president of the United States. Okay, a couple of things here. First, looking at it through the lens of law enforcement, anytime I was called to testify in court as a witness, I had to swear an oath. And the only thing I had to do was to raise my right hand and swear or affirm that I was telling the truth. Next, the presidential oath is actually the same oath that civilians who are entering into military service take, albeit with minor revisions based on rank. These revisions are made because Donald Trump is at the top of the food chain as it relates to military hierarchy. And if you have civilians who are swearing into the military, they are at the lowest end of that same hierarchy. So the change relates to that hierarchical order. And for your viewing enjoyment and information, here is a military swearing-in ceremony to compare the presidential oath of office to the Army oath of office, or swearing in.
I, Chike Springer.
I, Logan Story.
I, Thea Ledbetter.
I, Henry Nutt.
I, Jamel Chester.
I, Danielle Williams.
I, Jeffrey Dupree.
I, Catherine Dukarn, do solemnly swear that I will
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter. So help me God.
As you saw, both oaths of office are virtually the exact same. Mike?
it's interesting. The inauguration ceremony to me was amazing. My favorite parts were when Trump was lambasting Biden and Harris and his entire woke administration, and there was absolutely nothing they could do about it. They just had to sit there and take it. And he was telegraphing to the world that, the adults are back in charge, and if you aren't on board, you can basically fuck off. So to me, that was the second best part. Maybe that was the best part. So, it's difficult for me to kind of pick a favorite part of the speech, because I think it probably was the best presidential speech I've ever heard since Reagan, maybe even better than, the speeches that he gave. But it was hilarious to watch Captain Mumbles and the hyena just sitting there squirming.
Absolutely. It was comical. But just like that, Donald Trump is president of the United States again. And I agree, watching the sock puppet in chief and his chronically drunk VP seethe and grit their teeth through thin-lipped smile was actually classic. Normally, Inauguration Day is reserved for ceremony, church services, and speeches and parades, and the Oval Office signing ceremony for getting cabinet members assigned and appointments to officially take control of government. And, well, here's a clip of that event.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay.
The next one will be, next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47 times.
Anybody can see that just doing this amount of work would lead to a pretty busy day. But that's not enough for Trump. He made a number of promises throughout his entire campaign, even prior to his campaign, that on day one, he would be doing X, Y, and Z. And I'll be damned if that's not exactly what he did. Trump literally did the real-life version of a mullet. Business up front, party in the back. Take a look.
The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others. Thank you, sir.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
This next item is a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech going forward.
That's right. The man had a party going on, and in the middle of the party, started signing executive orders to undo the absolute shit show that the previous sock puppet in chief instituted under his watch. As a matter of fact, his very first EO was to terminate 78 EOs that Biden instituted. Then he went on to sign a crap ton more executive orders, some of which include designating cartels as terrorist organizations and defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth, thank God. Establishing the Department of Government Efficiency, yes. Pulling out of the WHO as well as the Paris Climate Accords, and then declaring a national emergency at our southern border, eliminating current birthright citizenship practice, and unleashing American energy. Drill, baby, drill. And again, he did this while there was a party going on. Now, I don't know too many people that can work during a party and still be part of the party. That's a new trick, and he straight pulled it off. And then the man went to the Oval Office and continued signing executive orders, but at the exact same time, opened the Oval Office to what I would characterize as hostile press corps, and then took their questions during the signings. It got to the point where staffers who were handing Trump the executive orders to be signed were constantly being interrupted on a regular basis by the press corps questions. Now, I get it. The press hasn't had a president in the last 4 years, who's taken more than 5 or 6 questions during a press briefing and then stumbled his way out to avoid answering questions that he wasn't allowed to answer. So this press is probably starving for answers and, in all likelihood, fishing for gotcha responses because it's Trump. But damn, have a little bit of decorum. President Trump let the press into the Oval Office to answer pretty much every single question they threw at him. The least they could have done is let the staffer do his damn job so these executive orders could be signed. Mike, I don't believe I would have done it, but would you have let the press into the Oval Office to ask questions of you during the signing of those EOs?
Dude, that was really entertaining. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen a president do, honestly. It was like watching the latest, crazy TV show, wondering what's going to happen next. And like his speech, it's difficult to pick a favorite EO for me, but I think for maybe locking down the border, that was key because a nation needs strong borders, right? So you got to stop the bleeding before anything else happens.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, the best part of the entire day was actually watching Trump, just be Trump during all of the balls.
I've got big balls, and they're such big balls, and they're fancy big balls.
Yeah, Trump has big balls. Watching him interact with the crowd, throwing the Sharpies he signed the executive orders with to the attendees. Amazing. Watching and listening to the chants, USA, 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 erupt like this was a pre-election rally, and watching Trump interact with his family, where he was dancing with Melania and cutting the ceremonial cake with a sword and then dancing with that sword, twirling it around. I'd probably have to be quite drunk to do what he did on stage, sober. I think that's what I appreciate about that guy. He's genuine and unapologetic demeanor. I like to think that's what a lot of people who support him and his agenda like about him as well. Mike, what's your thoughts on Trump now versus his previous term?
Well, his energy level is absolutely insane. Nobody else can match him. Even, all the presidents that were younger than him, nobody had that level of energy. And I can just imagine what the staffers are going through right now. They're working their ass off. And I was watching Melania and his kids and their wives at the later parties, all the different balls, and they all looked a little bit run down and exhausted. And, you could tell they were trying to be good sports about it. And I'm sure they all appreciated the historic moment that it was. So they hit it well, especially Melania and those 5-inch heels.
Damn. And she could sport the hell out of those 5-inch heels.
Yeah, she was amazing. So talk about having a spouse that's willing to go to battle with you. She was awesome. But the Don seemed to be enjoying every minute of it. And to me, that's what made it so fun to watch. Like you were saying, it was really fun. And he definitely is enjoying his life a lot more right now, I think, for several reasons. One of them was the near-death experience he had, and he miraculously survived that assassination attempt. And I didn't expect to watch past the inauguration speech in that ceremony, but watching that at all of the parties, I was glued to the TV. It was fun to watch.
I agree. I don't like to close with anything that's kind of a downer. I mean, there are some circumstances where it's unavoidable. And if I'm talking about the end of the world, obviously there's going to be a downer closing. But we do have to talk about the wrinkled-ass sock puppet who vacated the White House and his vice cackler-in-chief. Because part of the inauguration day includes the farewell ceremony for the two idiots who, literally almost destroyed this nation. In the next clip, you'll see the warm reception they receive when they're announced at the rotunda just ahead of the inauguration ceremony.
President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr., and Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Kamala David Harris.
Looking at this duo from another perspective, I guess I probably could argue that one of the best parts of the entire day was watching both of them essentially being escorted out by President Trump and the First Lady. And good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance, definitely. And honestly, it was super cringy watching Captain Mumbles and Dr. Jill the hyena and her low T beta male husband, whoever the fuck his name is, when they both entered, and again when they left, it was
I agree. It's been mentioned a few times on social media as well as by the legacy media that Trump accomplished more in the first 24 hours of his presidency than the exiting administration did in months. In that same vein, it could probably be argued that he probably doesn't need to do a 4-year term to do the work that needs to be done. But the hard and fast truth is he will need every minute of every day to push the America First agenda through. The embedded deep state did everything they could pre-inauguration to stop Trump. Scratch that. Sorry. Not necessarily stop Trump, but stop his agenda, the America First agenda. Now that he's president, the job just got tougher for them, but not impossible. They are going to put many roadblocks in the way. First and foremost is using the courts to fight the executive orders that Trump put in place, which is why our Congress needs to get off their dead ass, unify, and enact legislation that mirrors the executive orders. The deep state thought they could take Trump out, stop him by taking him out. But that isn't going to do it anymore. Trump has laid out his plans on how he plans to fix America. And it appears to be he is gathering the best and brightest of those who will execute those plans. The leftists have been screaming that Trump only gathered people that are loyal to him. Well, to that I say, that's pretty much what every single president does. But here's where they're wrong. Trump didn't assemble these people because they are loyal to him. He assembled them because they are loyal to his agenda. And they have the knowledge and the wherewithal to carry out their piece of the pie. All of these people have their work cut out for them. And I believe if they all work together, no matter the challenges, they will overcome and make America great again for all of us. And this concludes today's episode of Office of the Patriot.
If you've enjoyed the presentation, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share the channel on your social media. We really appreciate it.
Exactly. Also, please take the time to comment. Viewer engagement via comments is the major metric for channel accessibility on most social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook and X and MeWe and Rumble. The more people that like, subscribe, and comment, the more this channel will come up when social and political content like this is searched for. And as always, have a blessed day. Stay safe out there.